May 16th, 2020. Terraria received yet another final update, the Journey's End update, and along with a lot of quality of life changes, some things about the game just completely changed forever. The Meteorite armor set that was once available pre-boss was now shifted back behind Evil Boss, with meteorites no longer falling after you break your first Shadow Orb, instead killing an evil boss. Same happened to the Reaver Shark. It was nerfed quite heavily, once being on the same tier as a Molten Pickaxe despite being able to obtain it pre-boss. It now, after this update, has landed itself near Golden Plat. Yeah, there's no more progression skipping. You can't just get Hellstone shit pre-boss. And along with that and more came the changes to the Summoner class. Largely before this update, the Summoner class was just seen more as a gimmick, challenge class, or support class, due to its unreliability and just complete randomness. Along with its very limited number of weapon and armor options, many would just barely touch it. Prior to 1.4 and pre-hard mode, basically the Thrower class was better. And in 1.4, Thrower was completely removed, so I think that says a lot. Summoner 1.3 and prior was basically just a class where you'd use maybe one of its weapons to just give a little cheeky damage boost to your ranger, mage, or melee setup. That was basically it. But with the introduction of Journey's End, the Summoner class saw a large revamping. Minions had their AI changed, damage was increased, and as well as new introductions like the Blade Staff, but none of that compared to that of the likes of whips. Not to be used for pleasuring weirdos or beating people in submission, but to absolutely break the power scaling of minions entirely. Brain of Cthulhu, you think you can take me on in the hardest difficulty while I have a leather whip, snapthorn, and 3 birds? You gotta be kidding me. You absolute fucking buffoon. Your For the Worthy ass can't do shit to me. You see, prior to 1.4, minions just had a flat damage they did. It could be slightly raised with some accessory modifiers or armor, but in pre-hard mode, it was a large struggle as most minions had extremely low base damage and percent modifications were barely effective, if not at all. But whips have a neat little gimmick. Along with focusing your minions onto the struck enemy, it also adds a debuff to the enemy called tag damage. Tag damage is exactly what it sounds like. It's a flat damage the enemy will take in conjunction with the minion's base damage. If you have a whip that deals a tag damage of, let's say, 6, and a minion that deals 7, after you strike the enemy, they will now take 13 damage instead of the usual 7. For pre-hard mode, this makes most minions actually viable. The special thing about this is tag damage can be stacked. You can have roughly up to 4 different tags placed onto an enemy with the method of whip stacking. Only 4 because last I checked, enemy debuff slots max out at 4, and I play a lot of modded, so I'm not the most versed on vanilla. Anyways, why does all of this even matter? I thought I was watching a dumb drama video, not some lecture about mechanics in 2D Minecraft. Well, these stupid weapons are the whole basis and cause of the drama we're reviewing today. A drama that went on for well over half a year and could be argued is still going on today. December 2020. It was a month like any other in the Calamity Mod Discord server. People were talking, maybe doing some stupid shit. I don't know, that was over 2 years ago at this point. Content creator ShyGuyMask, who was at the time on YouTube showing off the power of the new Summoner revamp, began arguing with people in the server on the basis of whips. And considering this is the Calamity Mod community, I'm not surprised how long this drama ended up lasting. There were arguments about if whips were basically melee weapons, if they should be rebalanced, you know, all the normal stuff that usually come from the introduction of a new item in a video game that was popular. Okay, but what really sets this incident apart from the norm is how fucking stubborn everyone involved was. Okay, well, mainly ShyGuyMask was the stubborn one, as he would constantly begin arguing with people as soon as the topic was brought up. Like, seriously, if you just go through his message history on the Calamity Discord, there is over 300 results alone for the word whip. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. You wasted more time arguing with randos on the internet about pixel weapons than I have wasted redesigning my character. Let me clarify though, I don't hate ShyGuyMask. Actually, from the chats I've had with him in the DMs, he's been a really chill dude, but the situation just screams petty and excessive to another degree, especially for how long it went on. But I'd be lying if I didn't say some people may have been antagonizing him. There was people saying some aggressive and confrontational things, others that just got bent as fuck over the argument and lost their shit, which, to be fair, is pretty comedic to me. But you get what I mean, no side in this situation was just perfect softly angelic. And with just the stupid argument about whips, it just began dragging on for months. Someone would mention whips, Shy Guy would insert himself into the conversation, people would get pissed, the cycle would repeat over, you get the idea. This happened for months until around April 3rd of 2022, where Shy Guy just went silent. Apparently he was banned from the server. Can't say I'm really surprised because people were getting very audibly angry and tired of the constant arguments about whips. And being completely fair, I'd be getting really sick of it too. I can't imagine dealing with this for months when I only got sick and tired of one Garo Shadowscale fan arguing in my server for 4 hours. So I will say, great job on the Calamity moderators for having this level of patience. I would not be able to handle this, so why did he get banned anyways? It's obvious he wasn't just gonna get banned for whip discussion, so what was it? Well, it turns out it all started with another argument he wouldn't let go. Somebody in the Calamity Discord server asked if anybody knew the release date for Tmod Loader 1.4. Shy Guy responded and gave a time estimate on when he thought it'd be released, so I can't say that's too ridiculous. Which this got an individual known as Mercalto, who may or may not be on the Tmod team, I don't remember, to just get a little upset and respond in a rather harsh way to Shy Guy's time estimate on an update. They argued till this eventually got the attention of the Calamity Discord moderators. The moderators attempted to intervene and stop the argument, and Shy Guy apparently by word of the mods began getting defensive and claimed bias. The mods ended up delivering punishment to Shy Guy and removed his YouTube role due to all the infractions he was accumulating in the server, whilst Merc pretty much suffered little to no punishment. And after reading the whole argument, I definitely feel there was some bias in the situation because, being realistic, Merc got super aggressive and confrontational over something so ridiculously small, which I don't know, maybe it's part of being a T-Mod member, I don't know. Either way, it was just ridiculous, unhinged behavior for something so small. I could see this maybe being warranted if he was reasonably asking Shy Guy before this to not make such estimates, but this level of aggression out of nowhere is just completely unwarranted. The final nail in the coffin was apparently after he lost his role, Shy Guy made a community post and made a hypothetical situation on who was right and wrong. If it isn't obvious, the dude basically just made a situation that perfectly mirrored exactly what happened to him in the Calamity Discord. If this isn't obvious, this was a bit petty for the loss of a role in a Discord server and definitely shouldn't have been flushed out with your audience. Like, I'm trying to be fair and objective here, but this was just really fucking petty and stupid. Of course, immediately the Calamity moderators caught wind of this poll and he was promptly banned. Like, I may not agree with the original punishment and maybe the severity of this one, but I definitely do understand that he was definitely out of line for posting such a petty situation to his audience of 250,000 people. Let me remind you, over the loss of a role, and keeping someone who would do such things in your server just feels like a liability. I mean, who else would he do it to next? But that's still not where this ends. 6 days later, SGM would release his video, Why the Terraria Modding Community is Wrong About Whips. For clarification, this video was in the works for a long while before his ban, but I can't say I don't think the ban had no effect on his video. Quite the opposite, actually. While the majority of the video is more so just used to back up his arguments and disprove others, he does have dedicated sections of the video just throwing shade at the Calamity community and its moderators. He does this while also heavily painting the narrative in his favor by leaving out some key details. Let's just get some of the low-hanging fruit out of the way first. Yes, this video is text to screen, so any clips I do show I will be reading aloud as not to lose 70% of my audience retention.
I actually tried to do something at first and correct people in mainly the Calamity Discord, but I was constantly being rejected and mocked by people who wanted to stay ignorant. I did not care and I kept going, as long as I had a voice. But when the moderator started preventing me from speaking, in spite of vanilla talk being fully allowed and every other person being able to discuss whips as much as they want, even today as I'm writing this, I noticed something was wrong.
Look man, I can kinda understand why the moderators started limiting your speech, as you were just a tad bit excessive with how frequently you would get into whip debates. And people typically will start getting annoyed regardless if you keep barking the same talking points at them, with no progress really being made at either side. Plus, you're arguing with the Calamity community, and if I hadn't made it apparent, the Calamity community isn't known for being the most calm and collected. So I kinda understand why the keep the peace mentality they were going for was so enforced. Look, personally, I think you should just cut your losses and moved on, because this was just a bit far to go for a few pixel weapons in an RPG. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the addition of whips in Terraria, I just don't think I would've went this far to defend them. Like, please dude, chill the fuck out.
Funny thing happened while making this video though. The Calamity mod announced that they'd begun porting the mod to Tmod Loader 1.4. As a result, the Calamity Discord opened a text channel specifically made to discuss the Tmod 1.4 in the future of Calamity, including vanilla 1.4 content. I thought it would be worth giving it a second chance. After all, whips are one of the most impactful and important things to consider for the future of Calamity. So I gave it a shot and contributed for a while, and long story short, I got banned for no real reason. They even went as far as to falsely and baselessly accuse me of harassing multiple users in their DMs, despite the fact I haven't DM'd anyone during my last run. And in general, I hardly DM'd anyone there ever, and especially did not harass anybody.
You claim there was no real reason they banned you, which I think is just a tad bit dishonest. Whether that was intentional is up for debate, but there were definitely some real reasons why you got banned. But out of all the reasons, the harassing multiple users claim has the least amount of evidence to back it up. I didn't even find very much of my own search that backs it, even after I went to the Calamity moderators themselves, and they never provided anything substantial. The best I could find, or was provided to me, was a screenshot that looks like a continuation of an argument that began in the server, as there's been an instance or two in the Calamity server where ShyGuy and the user were told to take the argument to DMs. As for some actual verifiable reasons though, I did get a few from the Calamity moderators and some work by myself. So some of the reasons include multiple violations of the respect and disruption rules and the Mercalto incidents of part 1 and 2. The moderators were getting sick of basically dealing with you constantly when it came to the whip stuff and some of your knee-jerk reactions to being called out on them. The Mercalto incident was the strongest example of the knee-jerk reactions I mentioned. You really shouldn't air out Discord punishments where, may I remind you, you only lost a role to your audience of 250,000. Anyways, to simplify everything, no, ShyGuy was not banned for no real reason. There were a few actual fair ones and then a few nothing burger / unsupported ones. I kinda wish you showed the full screenshot in your video to widen the picture more, but I digress.
This just goes to show how far the hive mind goes to protect their ignorant narrative. It didn't matter how chill and civilized I tried to act in the 1.4 text channel. It didn't matter that I was the one actually receiving personal attacks in my DMs. It didn't matter that literally everybody else was allowed to talk about not only whips, but about myself as well, including mocking and as going as far as to make an Ace Attorney meme video about me. The moment I tried to speak against the narrative, again, I crossed the line.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but it wasn't exactly just you speaking out against the narrative. It was you going to an excessive degree to defend and argue on whips, as well as your rash reactions to some of the situations you found yourself in. Now, as for the attacks in your DMs, sure they were excessive and some of these people went pretty far for something so minuscule. ShyGuy does at the end of the video say not to harass or go out of your way to join the Calamity community just on the basis of this video, which that didn't work, but it's not like he could do anymore. So good on him for at least putting that disclaimer in. Getting your word out is quite important, and that's kind of why I'm making this video, as to be fair, this video isn't exactly the most two-sided. It's really in favor of ShyGuy. That's to be expected in a video where somebody defends themselves or rebutes somebody else's points against them. Anyways, I have no more of the video to go over. As I said, it was only a small chunk of it that threw shade at the Calamity community. Once this video dropped, you could say the drama hit its peak. Big Terraria YouTuber drops a video with the Calamity logo slapped right in the middle. You better bet some people are going to be interested in what's been said. And interested they were, as 250,000 of them were curious enough to watch. And with such a large number, you're going to expect some of them might try to go out of their way to start shit with people. ShyGuy's video was sent a few times in the Calamity Discord. People would shit talk him, the mods, you get the gist. This would go on for a while till the video's traction died down. And with that, the majority of the drama was dead. Nowadays, there's still speak of it every now and then in the Calcord server, and I feel like overall the perspective in this situation isn't very clear because it's rather one-sided here on YouTube, and same goes with the Terraria modding community. I decided it'd be worth it to get a final response from both ShyGuy and the Cal moderators about how they felt about either party and how this played out. ShyGuyMask gave me the following statement: I still stand that at worst I was annoying in the server and I broke no rules as far as I can see. And if I somehow did, whatever rule it is was enforced extremely unfairly and vaguely, since literally every single person in the server was allowed to argue and debate each other, whether it was especially summoner, whips, or other weapons. As far as I can remember, the worst thing I did during my time there was ask people on how much vanilla summoner playtime and experience they had when they would just keep clashing against my side of the argument, disagreeing with my explanations. It's so much worse with the fact that fabricated stories of me attacking others and harassing them in DMs were reasons for getting me banned and shamed. And even though the harassing and DM stuff ended up being resolved and confessed as being one other moderator making it up with no proof, it is nonetheless incredibly fucked up that it took a whole drama video and controversy to get it addressed at all. When I first asked Calamity staff mail about it, I was simply ignored and left with cricket chirps as far as I can remember. And at the time, I even stressed in my message that it was a pretty serious accusation that I was looking for explanations for. One last thing I wish I did differently about my whip video is giving the firecracker its own section. Now, when it comes to the Calcord mods, they didn't have much to say. They just said they hoped that more drama doesn't spark in the future, which I guess is fair, and I wouldn't want to deal with it anymore either. I've been cooking this video for months because I really didn't know how I was gonna say things, and I'm just lazy. So I decided to bite the bullet and finish this video after rewriting my script for the 4th time. And to you all, will take this as a disclaimer to not seek out anyone or any community mentioned just because of my video for the sake of antagonizing them. You'd think that would be common sense. This was a rather fun and at the same time draining video to make, as some of the stuff I had to look into was just so nonsensical and ridiculous I just kinda refused to believe it even happened. ShyGuyMask for the most part was just annoying and excessive to a petty degree, and the Calamity moderators were maybe a bit unfair with how they dealt out punishment to those involved. And for the most part they really should have just made sure they had more concrete evidence before accusing him of harassing people in DMs on the basis of whips. I'm not saying 100% it didn't happen, I'm just saying that from what I've seen it doesn't look like it. The Calamity mods have admitted fault to unfair punishment, as looking back, they feel they should have punished Mercalto more than just letting him go off scot-free. Which, again, I want to emphasize, he was really aggressive for no apparent reason. ShyGuy does admit he was rather annoying when it came to the whole Discord situation, which is good to see at least both sides see a bit of fault. This video was a bit of a roller coaster to make, and I hope I provided a more clear narrative, and that this dumb drama can just be put to rest. I hold no ill will to either party involved, and I hope you do as well. My Twitter will be linked below if y'all want to see updates and smaller skill content whilst I'm working on videos. Don't forget to join the Discord, also linked below. Thanks for all the cool fan art, and see y'all in the next hellstorm of a video.